Hi, I'm Barb.
And I'm Alex.
And we're Enchanterium. In today's video, we're trying our hand at the Dollightful / Moonlight Jewel's ball-jointed bunny customization. Of course, we had to do a twist on it, so I hope you're curious what we morphed the bunny into.
If you follow the doll customizing community, you may know about Dollightful BJD.
Dollightful.
You may know about Dollightful, yes. Dollightful's BJD bunny, a small bunny-like ball-jointed doll sculpted by Catherine and her husband that is available for free on Thingiverse. We wanted to customize this little fella for a long time, and in the meantime, another doll customizer, Moonlight Jewel, joined forces with 3D modeler Blue Pixie, and they remixed the bunny doll by adding more joints and changing the silhouette. We decided to take the remixed version and add a mermaid twist to it. I modeled a BJD mermaid tail before for Dark Layla, and this time I knew what I was doing, so we went faster. I'm using a 3D modeling and sculpting software called Blender. My general workflow for sculpting a mermaid tail was to sculpt a base, merge it with the torso, split the parts using spheres and a Boolean modifier, hollow the inside and make long slits in some places to make better movement on hips, knee and fin. I do 3D modeling once in a few months, so it's always a long process, as I quickly forget how to use the software. All our mermaids have problems with sitting, so as a part of my own challenge, I designed this tail to behave in a different way. I made sure that the hip joint can bend to 90 degrees and that the knee is double jointed. It allows the part above and under the knee to move, so the tail can fold and the doll can sit. The last thing is the fin. I made all the parts in a simple fashion to match with the round and cartoonish vibe of the original model, so the fin is not very detailed. The shape is inspired by the shape of the ears to create a cohesive look. I left the chest and all the arm parts untouched, but I've changed face features just a little bit. Now it's more smiley and with smaller eyes. And that's the model. Before we print this creation of a mad scientist, Barb has something to say about our sponsor.
You all know who today's sponsor is. It's Skillshare. So I have great plans for fashion for future videos later this year, but sometimes I struggle to put my ideas onto paper. As I need to collaborate with Alex and she's a visual person, I decided I needed to up my fashion sketching skills. I joined the First Steps of Fashion Design from Concept to Illustration class by Bella Vance on Skillshare to get some tips on how to materialize the visions of doll outfits I have in my head so that Alex can approve them before I waste any fabric. If you too would like to improve on something you've been struggling with or learn a completely new skill, Skillshare has a variety of classes to get you started. The first 1,000 people to click our link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to the video. We got a very special package in the mail a few weeks back from our friends at ELEGOO. A new, bigger, and better resin printer, the Saturn II 8K. The box is quite large, and I knew the printer was gonna be big, but this boy chunky. It sports a 10-inch 8K mono LCD screen with an HD resolution, with an astounding build volume, and a collimating Fresnel light source. And I know what that means because I'm a scientist. No wonder it's so big. It comes in the same color combo as the ELEGOO Mars 2 Pro we received a while back, and it appears that I am in fact cosplaying the printer in this unboxing. The printer of course comes with everything you need to run it in a separate box, and you can see me realizing just how much I will be able to put on that build plate.
That's what she said.
You can also see me laugh like a maniac and scheme on what to print next on this fabulous machine. We decided to celebrate the new addition to our robot army with a bit of a robot dance. Really excited about this. It's an air filter, some carbon in it. Hopefully will reduce the smell. Let's put it in.
Wow, I'm so natural at being a YouTuber.
Plug in here, and it has a USB port here. I think that sums up my excitement for the printer.
I could print my own hand if I want.
I decided to run the whole design at once on the printer. We made the bunny 150% scale of the original, and the parts all fit with room to spare, which is so great. I remember having to finesse all the parts of Coco's gauntlets on like 5 separate prints for the Mars, and on the Saturn, they would all fit in one plate. Mind-blowing. All of the parts turned out great and came off the build plate very easily. Overall, this printer is a beast. It barely fits here, so we're going to have to think on how to solve that, but it's going to be a great tool for future projects that I have in mind. If you're looking for anything resin printing related, our friends ELEGOO got you covered, including a pre-order of the Saturn 2 8K. Thanks ELEGOO for being a channel partner, and let's see how we can customize our bunny mermaid.
We printed the whole bunny in smoky black resin first, but we didn't know what to do with this color design-wise. And also, painting on translucent resin is not the best thing in the world, because you need a lot of layers to make a good coverage, otherwise it just looks very bad when the light is behind the object. We did another try in white resin, and it's opaque and light in color, so it's going to be much easier to paint. I put all the parts on barbecue sticks, and they are ready to be grilled or sprayed with 2 coats of Mr. Super Clear sealant. You choose. So I thought we could break the black and white palette with something more colorful, like a rainbow. It's already June and it's illegal to be straight right now. We merged 2 creatures together, a bunny and a mermaid. And what about throwing a 3rd species into the mix? Zebra maybe? Sounds like a plan, so let's paint rainbow zebra stripes starting from purple. I'm doing a light sketch with pencils first and then filling the spaces with solid color. I'm blending the colors together to have a smooth transition from one color to another. It's actually a reversed rainbow, because red should be on top, but I thought that purple would suit better with the smoky black on the top part of the body. And this is how the first layer looks like. A bit pale, and not every side took the pigment well. So I put it on the barbecue sticks again to spray it with MSC. But before the sealant, I added a coat of interference Perlex powders in purple, blue, green and gold, trying to match the colors to the rainbow stripes. In the end, it turned out that I needed 4 layers of color for it to look solid and the way I like. The fin was the easiest and most fun to paint. On the other parts, all the colors change at the angle, so the left side of the fin has a gradient from green to orange, and the right one is yellow to red. I'm in love with how it turned out. It's colorful with very subtle shimmer, and it's just perfect. I tried to do the holes for the stringing with a hand drill, but this is ABS-like resin and it's super strong, so it wasn't going well, and I took to a power drill instead. I put a pin in the hole and made a hook out of a different pin and secured all the parts with UV resin. The tail looks so satisfying when it's put together, but despite all these stripes, I think it can have some more decorations. I found these colorful glitters in a shape of stars and diamonds and glued them to the fin and the last piece of the tail with UV resin. It cures shiny and might look a bit weird when the shine is only around the glitter, so I did a few extra dots of resin. It creates a wet and cohesive look. I drilled little holes in the hands and stringed the top part of our mermaid with a very thin rubber thread. It's not a perfect solution because it's very stretchy, but we didn't have elastic that would fit in this tiny doll. Moonlight Jewel and Blue Pixie added a fluffy piece of fur on the chest of the model, and I'm painting it white to marry the top part with the mermaid tail. I couldn't resist adding toe beans on the hands, and I made it look like a heart.
So they're technically thumb beans? Because they're on hands?
Yeah, finger beans.
Hand beans.
Hand beans. Finger beans.
Finger beans.
Yeah. A bit of purple and pink on the fur, and the torso and hands are ready. Now let's move on to the head. I want to paint a white patch on their snout, but painting on translucent resin usually gives bad results, so I decided to try with an airbrush. I taped all the parts that I wanted to protect and started applying very thin coats. The first few layers were a bit tricky. The airbrush was doing these dots of wet paint, and I had to redistribute the paint with a sponge. After a few coats, the surface started to take paint much better. I wish I counted the layers of paint, but if I had to guess, I would say around 30. When I had a solid white color on the ears and a snout, I added a few layers of light pink. Time to check if it worked. At first I wanted a cartoon-like aesthetic with sharp lines and bold shapes. But the paint on the snout leaked a bit in all directions, so I changed the plans to a semi-realistic vibe. I'm doing a gentle fade around the patch with a white watercolor pencil and tiny dots of paint later. I thought white eyelashes and eyebrows would look great with this color palette, so I'm sketching them with white watercolor pencil. I'm also adding little tiny white hair to the ears since my cartoon-like plan didn't work. The nose looks like it needs a bit of color, and because we have pink inside the ears, it's natural choice to paint it pink. As I said during the 3D modeling part, I made the face look more smiley, but I'm enhancing that even more. When the sketch gets sprayed with MSC, I can trace it with acrylic paint. I'm keeping the lashes stylized because I feel like realistic lashes don't really suit the vibe of this humanoid bunny. It would look too human, and that always makes me uncomfortable, you know, the uncanny valley effect. I added some hair to the ears and brows, and the bunny face is ready. It's a simple face-up without pastels or micro glitter, because I think it wouldn't work well on a semi-translucent dark resin like this. Barb printed these eye bases she found on Thingiverse, and I'm going to make them pink and sparkly with paint, pastels, and of course glitter. The pupils are made from dark half pearls that I glued with the first drop of resin. I'm adding a few round glitter pieces and also a sprinkle of pink glitter powder. I'm curing each layer for 3 minutes and trying to do a dome on the top layer. Now the eyes have to be placed inside the head, and this is how the bunny looks with the eyes and a floral decoration made from beads.
This is how they turned out. This bunny has been on our to-do list ever since Dollightful released the files and Elisa iterated on it. We really should have read the descriptions better because we thought we were making the bunny bigger than Elisa's, as we upscaled her files by 1.5, but she printed them bigger, not made the files bigger, so our bunny mermaid is actually right in between Catherine's and Elisa's dolls. If you too would like to give your bunny a mermaid tail, we will of course link the tail files in the description below. We decided to name them Fluffy because in Polish we call tiny things puszek okruszek, which basically means like a fluff and a breadcrumb. So Fluffy.
What creature would you remix the bunny with? Let us know in the comments down below.
Make sure to follow us on Instagrams for some sneak peeks that we never post, and subscribe for future videos. Have an enchanted day, and we'll see you next time. Bye! Chyba tam są takie magiczne robaczki i one to robią, wiesz?
Tak?
No,
No pokaż.
Jak popatrzysz, to są takie robaczki. Widzisz takie robaczki?
No, chyba to nie jest zdrowe.
No, chyba nie. Dobra!
Fajne robaczki.